Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a second video in the Flexbox series. So, if you have not watched the first video that covers the basics of Flexbox and the properties that can be applied to Flex Container, I highly recommend watching that video first. I will post a link to that video in the description below. And in this video, we'll look into what are different Flexbox properties that can be applied to Flex items. Now, as you can see on the screen, I have super basic HTML here. I have a flex container and then I have three flex items. Now let's look into what are different flexbox properties that we can apply to these three flex items. So the first property that we'll be looking at is called order property. Order property lets you change the order flex items are laid out. So for example, let's say I want to move this flex item 1 to position 2 and the second flex item to position 3 and third to the first one. It's super easy to do so let's set order to number 2 for the first item, and for the second item let's set order to 3. For the third item let's go ahead and set order to 1. If I hit save, as you can see, flex items have been rearranged to fulfill whatever order we set it to. Now this is super helpful because in this scenario you don't have to change any HTML. You can simply reorder the flex items using this property. Now that's pretty much it for order property. Let's move on. Now the next property that we will be looking at, it's called align self. So when you initialize Flexbox using display flex, by default, Flexbox will set align items property to stretch. So now even though I have set align items to stretch, even if I get rid of it, it'll still be in the same position. So by default, Flexbox will set this align item property to stretch. For example, if I set align items to center now, you will see the original height of flex items assigned in the CSS. But let's say you have a scenario in which you would like all the flex items to be stretched except one. This is where align self comes in handy. Align self lets you specify the alignment of one specific flex item. For example, let's say I would like to set an alignment of second flex item to its original height. So let me go ahead and set this align items to stretch again. And as you can see now all the items are stretched. But I would like the second flex item to be of its original height. So I can simply go to CSS, and for second flex item I can set align self to center and hit save. As you can see, the second flex item is set to its original height. This is the use of align self property. The next property we'll be looking at, it's called flex basis. Flex basis lets you define the original size of the flex items before any extra space is distributed among flex items inside the flex container. For example, if I set flex basis to 100 pixels on item 1 and hit save, you will see the first flex items is 100 pixels now. I can do the same for other two as well. Hit save. Now as you can see, all the three items are set to 100 pixels. Now this is pretty much it for flex basis property. It lets you set the size of your flex items before the extra space available in flex container is distributed among them. The next property we'll be looking at, it's called flex grow. Flex grow property gives you the ability to set how flex items will grow if there is space available. By default, flex grow is 0 on all flex items. This simply means flex items will be of the same size what you set in the CSS. But if I set flex grow to 1 on all flex items, so flex grow 1, let me copy that and paste in another 2. If I hit save, the size of all flex items will be the same and it will take up all the extra space in the flex container. But if I set the flex grow of the second item to 2, second item will grow to become the twice the size of the original size. So of 100 pixels, the second item will be roughly around 200 pixels. That's pretty much it for flex grow property. The next property we will be looking at, it's called flex shrink. Flex shrink is the exact opposite of flex grow. Flex shrink gives you the ability to set how much the flex items should shrink if there is not enough space. So if I set flex shrink value to 0 for item 1, and if I set flex shrink to 1 for item 2 and set flex shrink to 2 for item 3 and hit save, let me go ahead and shrink the browser size. As you can see, the flex item 1 is not shrinking at all because the value is set to 0. And for the second item, it is set to 1, so it'll shrink at the rate of 1. But the third item is set to 2, so it'll shrink twice as fast as item 2. Now, that's pretty much it for flex shrink, and we have covered all the properties that can be applied to flex items. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please consider subscribing if you like the video.